What's going on, guys, and welcome to my F1 2020 simulating 10 seasons of career mode. So in this video I'm going to be going over, I think for this one, the first 5 seasons of a career mode. Basically I went through a career mode, did 10 races every season, the minimum you can do. I switched up which 10 races it was every time just to make it a little bit interesting and a bit different, and basically just simulated through them. So I didn't do the practice sessions, I just simulated it. I had to do qualifying and then I just simulated the race, saw what driver transfers happened, who won the races, and I recorded every single race. So I'm going to be going through every race, every transfer, all the juicy stuff. So yeah, this first video is probably going to be seasons 1 to 5, and then the next video will be seasons 6 to 10, and then I think after that I'll do a part 3 which will kind of be going over all the statistics of all the drivers. So let's get started. So for some context going into season 1, my character is called David Jackson. I put myself in Williams for season 1, and basically what I did was at the end of every season, whichever team was the lowest rated team, I would join. So I was always in the lower ranking teams, so it would never really affect the championship standings or anything at all. So me joining Williams, I replaced Nicholas Latifi, so that means that this grid is exactly the same as it is for the standard F1 2020 game, except there's no Nicholas Latifi at the moment and I'm in his place. So we start season 1 in Bahrain. Lewis Hamilton takes the victory from Valtteri Bottas in second, and then Alexander Albon takes third place for Red Bull. So it's interesting to see him ahead of Verstappen here. But yeah, it is a Mercedes 1-2. They are the highest rated team by a decent amount at the start of the game. So yeah, not really too surprising there. Round 2 goes to Vietnam, and we have Valtteri Bottas in first place. He wins the Vietnamese Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton in second. This time Max Verstappen comes back for third place. Alexander Albon's all the way down in 9th place, so does not have as good of a position there. Pretty decent one from Carlos Sainz coming in 4th, and you've also got the two Ferraris, Vettel and Leclerc, in 6th and 7th. Looking at the driver standings after those 2 rounds, Hamilton and Bottas are both tied for points, 44 points in 1st and 2nd, and then you've got Verstappen 3rd, Albon 4th, and then Charles Leclerc in 5th for Ferrari. The constructors also looking pretty similar. You've got Mercedes at the top, then followed by Red Bull, and then followed by Ferrari. Round 3 would go to the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton taking out the win again. However, it would not be a Mercedes 1-2 this time. Max Verstappen manages to get a 2nd place finish here, doing very, very well indeed. And we have our first Ferrari on the podium and our first non-Mercedes or Red Bull, with Charles Leclerc coming in 3rd place. Sebastian Vettel also doing a good job in 4th. And yeah, Bottas just kind of lacking a little bit here, ends up in 5th place with Albon in 6th. Not really a whole lot of change in the driver standings. Albon drops way down from 4th to 6th with the 2 Ferraris overtaking him. Other than that though, at the top, not really any changes. And yeah, really not any changes in the constructor standings either. I mean, McLaren overtake Renault at the bottom of the points paying positions, and yeah, really nothing else changing here. Alright, so for the Canadian Grand Prix, I've had to show this one a little bit differently because I forgot to take a screenshot when I actually had just done the race. So Lewis Hamilton won in Canada with Max Verstappen in 2nd and Alexander Albon in 3rd. So it's the first double podium for Red Bull. However, we've still got a Mercedes on top. Currently, this season so far, we've only had Mercedes winning. Nobody else has won other than Hamilton or Bottas. Driver standings, once again, not a whole lot of change. Albon does manage to get back up to 4th again to overtake the 2 Ferraris. But other than that, not really any big changes. In Austria, it's the 2nd win for Valtteri Bottas, taking the win in this one. Max Verstappen once again in 2nd place. He's seeming to quite enjoy that 2nd place spot at the moment. Almost always beating out a Mercedes. This time it would be Lewis Hamilton in 3rd place. So yeah, Max getting a few good points there, with Sergio Perez, very good performance in 4th. And I mean, you've got Lance Stroll in 6th as well, so pretty good one from the racing points. The Ferrari's a bit further down the pack this time. Driver standings, not a massive change. You've got Sergio Perez now ahead of the 2 Ferraris only just, but other than that, not really any big changes. And the constructors, really there's nothing happening at the top. The top 4 are kind of staying the same. However, you've got this kind of flip-flopping between Renault and McLaren in 5th and 6th. The British Grand Prix brings back the Mercedes 1-2, Hamilton in 1st, Bottas in 2nd, and Verstappen 3rd. Bottas does get the fastest lap here though, so he grabs that extra point. Driver standings, no massive changes. Vettel moves ahead of Perez. And then not a single change in the constructors at all this time. Belgian Grand Prix, another win for Valtteri Bottas with fastest lap as well. Max Verstappen getting back into second place there with Lewis Hamilton in third. It's a pretty similar top three at this current point in time. You've kind of got the, the standard even in real life. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, top three. Not really any changes to the driver standings at all this time. I mean, you've got Daniel Kvyat right at the bottom, moving ahead of Magnussen from getting 1 point, but other than that, no changes at all. And yeah, once again, it's just kind of that flip-flop between McLaren and Renault. AlphaTauri also into 7th now. Them and Haas both on 1 point, with Alfa Romeo and Williams at the bottom with 0. The rest of them are kind of in a field of their own. The Italian Grand Prix, and I think we have our first non-Red Bull podium without a Red Bull. We've got a 1-2 for Mercedes with Bottas first, Hamilton second. However, it's Charles Leclerc again in third place on the podium, with Vettel also 4th. The two Red Bulls 5th and 6th this time, not showing as much pace on this track. Leclerc moves ahead of Perez in the standings. You've also got Daniel Ricciardo kind of somewhat making his way up the order in the top 10. And then constructors, same old, Renault and McLaren. For round 9, we go to Japan, and it's Lewis Hamilton on top again, with Valtteri Bottas in second place and Max Verstappen in third. Once again, no changes in the top 7. Daniel Ricciardo moves slightly higher up. Sainz moves a little bit higher up as well. And pretty much Lance Stroll moves down a little bit. Constructors, same old Renault and McLaren. And for the final race of Season 1, we head to Brazil. Lewis Hamilton wins the race and gets the fastest lap. Bottas comes second, and it's another Verstappen in third. Same podium as the last race, with the two Ferraris also in 4th and 5th again, so they're showing their decent pace here. Albon is down in 6th, with the two McLarens actually doing decent this time. So the driver standings, and these are the final standings for Season 1. Lewis Hamilton takes the championship with 221 points. He is 22 points ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas in second. And then Verstappen is 67 points behind Hamilton with 154 points in third, with Albon 4th, quite a way down. Then you've got the two Ferraris, Perez in 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Sainz 9th, and then Lance Stroll rounds out the top 10. And as for the Constructors' Championship, well, quite easily goes to Mercedes on 420 points. Way back, 174 points behind is Red Bull with 246. You've then got Ferrari in third with 162, Racing Point 4th with 79, Renault with 56, McLaren with 55. So Renault, after that ding-dong battle throughout the whole series, they beat McLaren by 1 single point. You've then got AlphaTauri on 1, Haas on 1, and Alfa Romeo Racing and Williams on 0 points at the back. And that is Season 1 done. So going into Season 2, unfortunately there wouldn't be any driver retirements at all, and thus no driver transfers at all either. So Season 2, we've got the exact same driver lineup, which is a little bit disappointing, but don't worry, end of this season we will see some moves. Looking at the R&D chart going in at the start of Season 2, not really a whole lot of change. The only real change being that BWT Racing Point have overtaken Ferrari and are now effectively the third fastest team. Also, AlphaTauri have moved up quite a lot, overtaken Renault and McLaren to be the 5th fastest team. Other than that, it's all the same. We start this season in Australia this time with a fairly familiar looking podium. Bottas in first place with Hamilton second and Verstappen third. Once again, the two Ferraris in 4th and 5th. Pierre Gasly actually doing pretty well here, getting his AlphaTauri into 6th after last season. I don't think he really scored any points. So, reasonably good effort from him. That puts Mercedes ahead in the Constructors, with Ferrari in 2nd place and Red Bull in 3rd. Next we go to China, and finally we have a non-Mercedes race winner. Max Verstappen wins his first race in this career mode for Red Bull, with Hamilton 2nd and Bottas 3rd. Perez also doing very well there to get his racing points into 4th, with Ricciardo 5th and the two Ferraris 6th and 7th. This puts Verstappen into 2nd place in the championship so far, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but just trailing Bottas by 1 point. It also means that Red Bull get up to 2nd in the Constructors' Championship as well, with Mercedes still ahead and Ferrari 3rd, Racing Point 4th, and Renault in 5th. Going to Spain, we've got Hamilton winning his first race of the season with Verstappen in 2nd, and we have a new podium sitter for this career mode, with Daniel Ricciardo picking up 3rd place in the Renault. Very good considering the Renault's only like the 6th fastest car or something, so really good effort from him. This does boost Hamilton into the top spot of the championship with Verstappen in third and Bottas fourth. Verstappen second and Bottas third. It says that Red Bull overtake Ferrari in the constructors, but as far as I'm aware, they were ahead anyway before. Now we go to good old Monaco, and we've got Bottas taking this one out with Verstappen second and Leclerc third. Hamilton's all the way down in fifth. I think this is the first time that Hamilton hasn't been on the podium. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, this is an interesting one. You know, you've got a Mercedes on the top, but then you've got a Red Bull in second, and you've got a Ferrari in third, so definitely mixing it up a bit here, which is great to see. Driver standings, Max Verstappen goes into the lead of the championship in front of Bottas by 2 points, and then Hamilton is behind Bottas by 4 points. Yeah, it's very close at the moment. And there's no change in the constructors at all. For round 5, we're at the French Grand Prix. Hamilton takes out the win again with Verstappen second, Daniel Ricciardo getting back on the podium in third. Hamilton ahead of the championship here still, with Verstappen second and Bottas third. And once again, no change in the constructors. So I thought I'd just take a little look at what the R&D was halfway through the season. So this is 5 rounds down. Mercedes is still at the top, however Racing Point are actually now the second fastest team, with Red Bull and Ferrari almost right on top of each other in third and fourth, with the kind of midfield back there from like Renault all the way down to really Alfa Romeo, maybe even Haas actually, very, very close indeed. Going into round 6 at Hungary, the Hungaroring, we've got Bottas winning the race with Verstappen second and Ricciardo third. Once again, Hamilton maybe in the lead of the championship at the moment, but he's another 5th place and non-podium finish here. And that means he's no longer at the top of the championship. Verstappen takes the championship again with Bottas second, Hamilton third. Ricciardo's all the way up into 5th there, doing very, very well with consistent finishes here. And Leclerc's just about hanging on to 4th. In the Constructors' Championship, basically Renault takes over Racing Point for 4th place. Kind of crazy to see Racing Point only in 5th, considering they apparently have the 2nd fastest car now. Going to Singapore for round 7, we've got Hamilton taking a win again. He kind of bounces back from his not as good finishes, and then Bottas second, and Ricciardo once again very consistently gets himself into 3rd. Max Verstappen's down in 5th this time, with Alexander Albon, his teammate, all the way down in 8th, not really showing as good a pace this season. Hamilton then back ahead of the championship, but it's still close between him, Bottas and Verstappen, with Ricciardo up in 4th now, overtaking Leclerc. Vettel actually also overtakes his teammate Leclerc. Alexander Albon is all the way down in 10th for Red Bull, so considering how his teammate is fighting for the championship, he's really, lacking. I mean, Verstappen's on 123 points, Albon is only on 18. And in the Constructors, McLaren overtake AlphaTauri for 6th place. Going to Russia, and we have our next new winner being Daniel Ricciardo winning for Renault in Russia. We've then got Bottas in 2nd, and Sergio Perez takes his first podium of the career mode in 3rd place. Awesome to see Ricciardo up there at top, because his car's only like the 5th or 6th fastest, and yeah, I mean, Perez is showing that pace for the Racing Point that it should have. His teammate only down in 11th. This means now Bottas is ahead of the championship with Hamilton 2nd and Verstappen 3rd. Constructors' Championship, once again it says that McLaren overtakes AlphaTauri, but I'm pretty sure they were ahead anyway. The United States Grand Prix, we have Bottas in 1st, Hamilton 2nd and Verstappen 3rd. The two Ferraris doing pretty well here in 4th and 5th. Daniel Ricciardo all the way down in 7th this time. Not really any big change in the championship. Albon moves up to 9th, but he's still way off the pace that he should be. And no changes at all in the Constructors. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix would be the season finale for Season 2. Lewis Hamilton would take the victory, however Bottas would be in 2nd with the fastest lap. Daniel Ricciardo once again being on the podium. Now what would this mean for the championship? Pretty sure Verstappen's completely out of it, because he has his worst race of the whole season so far, all the way down in 10th place. Well, for the standings, it means that Valtteri Bottas takes the championship. He wins his first ever Drivers' Championship, beating out his teammate Lewis Hamilton by only 8 points, with Verstappen trailing a bit thanks to that last race with only 151 points. Ricciardo in 4th with 118, very good showing from him, with Leclerc in 5th with 93, and then Vettel with 84. Perez 7th with 68, Sainz in 8th with 30. 9th is Alexander Albon with 23 points, and rounding out the top 10, Pierre Gasly with 22 points for AlphaTauri. As for the constructors, well, it's a little change at the end. Mercedes still take the win by a considerable margin, 378 points. They are 201 points clear of second place, which is now Ferrari. Ferrari managed to take their second place spot back right at the end of the season from Red Bull, who are on 174 points. You've then got Renault with 134, Racing Point 87, McLaren 46, AlphaTauri 23, and then Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Williams all at the bottom with 0 points. So going into Season 3, there would be some retirements and transfers. First of all, Sebastian Vettel would retire from the sport. Esteban Ocon would take his seats at Ferrari, moving from Renault. Pierre Gasly would then move from AlphaTauri to Renault to take Ocon's seat. Sergio Perez would move to AlphaTauri to take Gasly's seat, which is an interesting choice there. Antonio Giovinazzi would move from Alfa Romeo to take Sergio Perez's seat at Racing Point. George Russell would take Antonio Giovinazzi's seat at Alfa Romeo, and then Nobuharu Matsushita would join Formula One. He would become a rookie joining the Williams team. We'd also have a second retirement this season. Kimi Raikkonen retired from the sport, and that left Nick De Vries to join the sport with Alfa Romeo. So here we are for Season 3. At the start of the season, Mercedes are still at the top with Racing Point in second. Ferrari, Renault and McLaren all very, very close to each other there in third, fourth and fifth, with Red Bull in sixth place. Red Bull really not doing too well here. They are actually very close to McLaren. Actually, it's Ferrari and Renault that are on top of each other. McLaren and Red Bull are on top of each other. Then you've got AlphaTauri, Haas and Alfa Romeo, with Williams trailing right at the back. So a big shift up here, especially for Red Bull, all the way down in sixth place. The season starts in Bahrain with Bottas taking the victory. Daniel Ricciardo does a very well in second place, and then Lewis Hamilton in third place. This puts Mercedes at the top of the Constructors' Championship with Renault in second, Ferrari in third, McLaren fourth, AlphaTauri fifth, Racing Point 6 and Red Bull in 7th, only scoring 1 point. Round 2 is the Dutch Grand Prix, and we have another new race winner. Charles Leclerc wins for Ferrari. It's Ferrari's first win. It's Charles Leclerc's first win. Then Max Verstappen, he shows his pace here. Red Bull seem to be a little bit better now, at least for this race, with him getting second place. And Carlos Sainz gets his first podium of the career mode in third place. A very good showing from him. As you can see, Bottas is in fourth. Lewis Hamilton all the way down in 10th place. Don't know what happened to him there. That actually puts Leclerc at the top of the Drivers' Championship at the moment, with Bottas second and Ricciardo third. Mercedes still head the Constructors' Championship, but Ferrari now second, Renault third, and Red Bull pulling it up a little bit in fourth. Round 3 heads to Azerbaijan, and Daniel Ricciardo takes another victory here. I believe this would be his second so far of the career. Bottas second, and Hamilton, he's back in it in third place with Leclerc in fourth. Bottas then just about takes over the championship with Leclerc second and Ricciardo fourth, Hamilton getting up to fourth. And then, yeah, not a whole lot of change in the constructors. Red Bull and Racing Point now are tied on points, with McLaren only 8 points behind them. Canadian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton gets another victory here, with Bottas in second and Leclerc in third. Leclerc definitely showing some good pace here, with Ocon also in fifth, so he's also showing some decent pace that Ferrari has. Ricciardo splitting them in fourth. No massive changes at the top, apart from really Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo switching, and Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll switching. And then for the constructors, Renault moves ahead of Ferrari and Racing Point moves ahead of McLaren. Austrian Grand Prix, and it's a very good one for Renault. Bottas takes the victory with Mercedes. However, Pierre Gasly gets his first podium of the career mode in second, with Daniel Ricciardo, his teammate, in third place. So it's a double podium for Renault. Also a good showing from Carlos Sainz in McLaren in fourth place. That boosts Ricciardo up to second place in the championship, 28 points adrift of Bottas. McLaren is also now ahead of Racing Point, although they are actually tied on points. Halfway through the season, and there's not a whole lot of change here. Red Bull moved from 6th to 5th, but that whole kind of group from Racing Point down to McLaren is very, very close. It's a lot closer than it was. Other than that, though, not a whole lot of change. For the British Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly takes his first career win of this career mode in the Renault. Really, really good showing from him, considering that car, yes, it's in that big kind of mid sort of pack group, But yeah, really showing his worth here in first place with fastest lap as well. And it's Bottas and Hamilton rounding out the top three. McLaren also having a very good show here in 5th and 6th. Red Bull down in 7th and 8th, with Ferrari lacking off the pace here a little bit in 9th and 13th. Bottas still ahead of the championship with Ricciardo in 2nd, and Gasly now 3rd in the championship ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Once again, not really changes for the constructors. The Italian Grand Prix sees back-to-back victories for Pierre Gasly. I don't know what rocket he's got up his arse, but he's just flying around at the moment. Lewis Hamilton once again 2nd and Bottas 3rd, so it's a Mercedes 2-3 again, just the other way round. And yeah, Gasly really showing some great pace here. You've also got Sergio Perez in the AlphaTauri showing real good pace with 4th place. That actually moves Gasly up to 2nd place. So yeah, he's really showing some good pace here. No changes in the constructors. Japanese Grand Prix, well, Gasly's winning streak has stopped, but he is still there. He is still finished in 2nd place with Bottas in 1st and Hamilton 3rd. Bottas extends his lead at the lead with Gasly in 2nd and Hamilton 3rd. No changes there. McLaren, however, do move up to 4th place and overtake Red Bull, who get demoted down to 5th again. The penultimate round in Mexico, the Mexican Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton takes the victory. I believe it's his it's his 2nd victory of the season. Verstappen back up there in 2nd place. Red Bull seem to just be showing glimpses of pace, but really have been off for the whole season. And then Esteban Ocon gets his first podium of the career mode in 3rd place for Ferrari. And yeah, that's a good round for him. No big changes at the top. You've just kind of got Max Verstappen moving up to 6th ahead of Carlos Sainz. And the Constructors' Championship stays the same. The final round, the Brazilian Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly takes his 3rd win of the season. Crazy from him, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he's got 3 wins. Bottas has 3 wins, so literally Bottas and Gasly have the same amounts of wins this season, which is just crazy. Bottas comes home in 2nd, with Leclerc finding a bit more pace in 3rd. Seems like only one of those Ferrari cars can do well, because Ocon's all the way down in 11th. Hamilton is in 4th, with Albon actually the lead Red Bull here in 5th. As for the Drivers' Championship, well, it's a pretty clear win for Bottas. Nothing really changes here at all. So that's 2 championships in a row for Valtteri Bottas. And once again, pretty easy one for Mercedes. A lot closer this time, to be honest. Only 59 points between them and Renault in 2nd, Ferrari 3rd, and Red Bull managed to claw their way back to 4th place. Unfortunately, once again, there would be no driver retirements at the end of Season 3 and no transfers at all, so we go into Season 4 with the same driver lineup. So here's the R&D chart going into Season 4. Once again, Mercedes are still up the top, but Red Bull have now closed back up to the 2nd fastest team. Big battle between Racing Point all the way down to AlphaTauri in 7th place. And then you've kind of got Haas, Alfa Romeo and Williams at the back. Round 1 of the Australian Grand Prix, and it's a Red Bull 1-2 with Alexander Albon taking his first ever career victory in 1st place. Verstappen 2nd place with Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. Pierre Gasly once again showing that he has got good pace still. That puts Red Bull ahead in the Constructors' Championship, a good few points, 19 points ahead of Mercedes, with Renault in 3rd place. Round 2 in Vietnam, and Red Bull keep their 1-2 pace. Verstappen this time takes out the win in the fastest lap with Albon in 2nd, Pierre Gasly in 3rd place. We don't even have a Mercedes on the podium. I don't know if this is the first time this has happened, but not a single Mercedes on the podium. Bottas all the way down in 9th. Verstappen and Albon now joint leaders of the championship with Hamilton in 3rd. And the Constructors, well, Renault overtake Mercedes. So Mercedes are now only 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. I know that is a crazy thing to say. Chinese Grand Prix, and well, Mercedes are back at the top with Lewis Hamilton taking the victory and the fastest lap. However, it's still a double podium for Red Bull. Alexander Albon in 2nd with Max Verstappen in 3rd, splitting the 2 Mercedes there with both their cars in Bottas in 4th place. That means that Alexander Albon now has the edge over his teammate in the championship. And the top pretty much stays the same for the Constructors, however McLaren moving up to 5th. The Spanish Grand Prix, and it's another 1-2 for Red Bull. Max Verstappen in 1st place, Alexander Albon 2nd, however he does take the fastest lap, so that I think should keep his lead of the championship, with Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, Esteban Ocon showing some good pace for the Ferrari in 4th. Sorry, I got that wrong. Verstappen is now ahead of the championship. I thought it would have been Albon with the fastest lap. Albon is in second place with the two Mercedes of Hamilton and Bottas third and fourth, with then the two Renaults of Gasly and Ricciardo 5th and 6th. As for the constructors, Mercedes moved back into second place, taking that from Renault. Monaco Grand Prix, it's a 1-2 for Mercedes again, with Bottas and Hamilton first and second, Verstappen in that third place spot, Esteban Ocon in fourth, with the two Renaults also doing well, Alexander Albon a little bit further down the field this time. Verstappen still keeps his lead of the championship, and Albon is still there to make it a 1-2 for Red Bull, but the Mercedes are starting to close. And in the constructors, Ferrari overtake McLaren again for 5th. Halfway through the season, and this is how the R&D chart is working, things spreading out a little bit more. You've kind of got Mercedes up the top, Red Bull are a little bit behind, and then you've got a pretty consistent kind of score between Ferrari, Renault, Racing Point, AlphaTauri and McLaren, and then Haas, Alfa Romeo and Williams still at the bottom. Hungarian Grand Prix, Hamilton takes another victory, but it's another double podium for Red Bull, with Albon this time in second and Verstappen in third with the fastest lap. Driver standings mean that Hamilton now splits the two Red Bulls in second place. No real changes in the constructors. The Belgian Grand Prix, it's back to another 1-2 for Mercedes, with Bottas first, Hamilton second, and Alexander Albon in third with Verstappen fourth. No real changes in the standings here. Lando Norris makes his way up to 8th. And then there's no changes in the constructors' standings at all. Russian Grand Prix, Bottas takes a win here. It's a track that in real life he is pretty good at, so yeah, not really a surprise there, with Albon second and Verstappen third. Hamilton all the way down in 6th place this time. This means that Albon gets his way back up into second place on the driver standings. And then there's no changes for the constructors yet again. The US Grand Prix, Bottas takes another victory here, back-to-back victories for him. Actually, it's back-to-back-to-back victories for him, with Albon in second place and Hamilton third, so no Red Bull double podium this time. And this actually puts Alexander Albon into the top spot of the championship. It's very, very close. He's up at the top with 157. You've then got Bottas second with 154, Verstappen third also with 154, and then Hamilton in fourth with 147. It's very close at the top. And the constructor standings say the same. Something that is quite interesting to see here is that we're almost at the end of the season now. We've got one more round to go. Racing Point haven't scored a single point. For the final round, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Max Verstappen takes the victory and the fastest lap. What is this going to mean for the championship? Lewis Hamilton comes home in second with Bottas in third place, Gasly fourth, and Albon in fifth. Well, he's finally done it. Max Verstappen wins the Drivers' Championship for Season 4. He scores 180 points. Valtteri Bottas is in second place with 169. In third place, Alexander Albon with 167, and only 2 points behind him in fourth place is Lewis Hamilton. You've then got Pierre Gasly, fifth with 86, Esteban Ocon with 63, Ricciardo with 58, Daniel Kvyat in 8th with 38, with his teammate Sergio Perez 9th with 33, and then Lando Norris rounds out the top 10 with 29 points for McLaren. Just one real change in the Constructors' Championship at the end. Red Bull still win with 347 points, but it's very close. Mercedes in second with 334 points, only 13 points behind. Renault take third place with 144 points. Ferrari get themselves into fourth with 78 points. AlphaTauri fifth with 71. McLaren in sixth with 46. And then you've got Racing Point, Haas, Alfa Romeo and Williams all scoring not a single point. Quite a shame there, mainly for Racing Point. So there would be one retirement at the end of Season 4, and it's kind of a crazy one. Valtteri Bottas retires. He won back-to-back championships in Season 2 and 3, but he couldn't win in Season 4, so he just kind of gave it up. Valtteri Bottas retires. Max Verstappen takes his seat at Mercedes. So after winning his first Drivers' Championship with Red Bull, he moves to Mercedes. Pretty crazy move there, and maybe a little bit controversial. Jack Aitken joins Formula 1 and goes straight into Red Bull. So he's going to be driving in a top-tier car in his first season in Formula 1. So interesting to see how that goes. Going into Season 5, here is the R&D chart. Mercedes and Red Bull are literally right on top of each other at the top of the table. Then you've got that big group from AlphaTauri down to McLaren again, with the other three at the bottom. Season 5 starts with the Dutch Grand Prix, with Alexander Albon taking the win for Red Bull, Max Verstappen in second place on his debut for Mercedes, and then Jack Aitken in his Formula 1 debut gets a very, very respectable third place podium finish. I think that's a pretty good start for the young Brit. That puts Red Bull at the top of the Constructors' Championship, with AlphaTauri actually in second place, Mercedes in third. Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Max Verstappen gets his debut win for Mercedes, with Jack Aitken in second place this time. He's really showing himself this early on in the season and this early on in his career, with Lewis Hamilton in third place. Alexander Albon comes home in fourth. This puts Verstappen up to the top of the table, but this time not with Red Bull, but with Mercedes, Alexander Albon in second and Jack Aitken third. The constructors at the moment still in Red Bull's favour, but Mercedes are now in second, with AlphaTauri dropping to third. The Canadian Grand Prix, it's another victory for Alexander Albon, with Lewis Hamilton in second place, Max Verstappen in third. Albon is now at the top of the table once again, with Verstappen second and Jack Aitken third. Lewis Hamilton down in fourth. Once again, we've pretty much got the same constructors standings here. The French Grand Prix, it's another one for Alexander Albon, back-to-back wins here, with Verstappen second and Hamilton third. Charles Leclerc showing his pace in fourth place with the Ferrari. No big changes at the top. Daniel Kvyat is up in fifth, with Leclerc in sixth. And then there are no changes in the Constructors' Championship. The British Grand Prix goes to Max Verstappen, with Lewis Hamilton in second and Jack Aitken getting back on that podium in third place, with his teammate in fourth. Verstappen now leads the championship from Albon. And no real changes in the constructors apart from McLaren overtake Racing Point for sixth place. Halfway through the season, and this is how the R&D chart is looking, Red Bull are now at the top. They are the fastest team on paper currently, overtaking Mercedes about round 3, round 4. Then you've got Ferrari in third, Racing Point fourth, AlphaTauri fifth, Renault 6th, McLaren 7th, and then the other 3 at the bottom. Williams have overtaken Alfa Romeo though, so Alfa Romeo are now the slowest team on paper. The Italian Grand Prix goes to Max Verstappen, with Alexander Albon in second and Pierre Gasly taking his first podium of the season. The 2 AlphaTauris putting in a great performance in 4th and 5th for Perez and Kvyat. Perez and Gasly both go up in the driver standings here too. And Mercedes now move to the top of the constructor standings, Red Bull moving down to second, and you've also got, once again, McLaren ahead of Racing Point. I'm pretty sure they already were though. In Singapore, Alexander Albon brings it back again with a first place finish. Still a 2-3 for Mercedes, with Verstappen in second and Hamilton third. Once again, Leclerc showing that he is the better Ferrari driver at the moment. Hamilton moves up to third, overtaking Jack Aitken, but I'd still say Jack's doing a pretty decent job considering it is his first season and he is in like the top team. And Mercedes just keep their lead at the front. The Japanese Grand Prix goes to Verstappen and he also gets fastest lap. Pierre Gasly up there in second place, very good showing from him. And then you've got Alexander Albon in third, with Lewis Hamilton fourth. Daniel Ricciardo, who's not been as kind of in the mix this season, is up in fifth. Only real change in the driver standings is that Pierre Gasly moves up to 5th place to overtake Daniel Kvyat, and Renault overtake Ferrari for 4th in the championship. The Mexican Grand Prix also goes to Max Verstappen with fastest lap again, Pierre Gasly second, and Daniel Ricciardo this time gets himself into the podium positions for the first time in quite a while. The 2 Ferraris also doing quite well in 4th and 5th, with Ocon and Leclerc respectively. This gives Max Verstappen a 39-point lead over Alexander Albon going into the final round, which means he now can't lose. So Verstappen has won season 5, Albon's in second, Hamilton third, and Aitken still hanging on in 4th. And the Constructors' Championship, Renault just moves ahead of Ferrari again for 3rd. Final race of the season, the Brazilian Grand Prix, and I mean, he'd won the championship anyway, but Max Verstappen finishes the season with another win and fastest lap. He will now take the championship. Charles Leclerc gets himself into 2nd place, so it's a great showing from him, especially considering his teammate was down in 9th. Pierre Gasly picks up the pieces for 3rd place. Like I said, I mean, you can see here, there's literally no changes in the top 14 that you can see on the screen. Verstappen takes a pretty healthy and pretty big lead and win over the rest of the field. 53 points ahead of Alexander Albon in 2nd place. Lewis Hamilton down in 3rd, a long way, 120 points down on his teammate, which is crazy. Jack Aitken is in 4th place, quite a lot down from his teammate, but I still think it's a decent effort. You've then got Gasly in 5th, Leclerc 6th, Perez 7th, Ocon 8th, Kvyat 9th, and Daniel Ricciardo only managing 10th. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes end up taking the victory with Red Bull in 2nd, Renault get their way up to 3rd with Ferrari 4th and AlphaTauri 5th, McLaren 6th, Racing Point end up 7th. They do score 8 points this time. And then you've got Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Williams at the bottom. So there'd be no retirement to the end of this season, but there still would be quite a few moves. Even though I think personally he had a decent season, considering it was his rookie season in Formula 1, and he was in like the top team, Jack Aitken gets dropped from Red Bull and can't find himself another seat for Season 6, so he is back to being a free agent and is out of Formula 1. Daniel Ricciardo, in a pretty crazy move, moves from Renault back to where he started, well, back to where he mainly was at Red Bull. So Daniel Ricciardo back in a Red Bull, that should be interesting. You've then got Sergio Perez, who moves himself to Renault. George Russell takes Perez's seat at AlphaTauri. And then Nicholas Latifi finally joins the sport after I kind of kicked him out. For Season 6, he joins Alfa Romeo, taking George Russell's seat. Nick De Vries moves to Williams because my character, called David Jackson, I decided to move to Alfa Romeo because they would now be the slowest team on the grid on paper. So that concludes part 1 of this 10 seasons video from seasons 1 to 5. In the next part, we'll be doing seasons 6 to 10, so look out for that. Hopefully in the next week or so, I will upload that one, and yeah, probably after that one, we'll do a part 3 looking over all the stats of all the drivers. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.